Imagine being a professional boxer, having a fight and not getting paid for it. Leaving ring empty-handed, maybe a couple of bruises and a busted nose. This happened to me 3 times in my career. Not the busted nose bit, like. On small hall circuit. So how it used to work back then, it's been a while since I've boxed on a small hall show, but you also obviously had to sell tickets. You had to go out working hard, trying to sell tickets for your fight. And back then, let's say, for example, a 4-rounder, my opponent wanted £1,000 wage. So all the tickets that I would sell, the first £1,000 that I get to would be my opponent's. And then the next, usually a couple £100 would have to go into pot for promoter, so he can hopefully make a bit of money, and it, covers expenses for the show. And then usually anything that were left after that would be mine. In my first year as a professional, coming up to my 5th pro fight, I was 21 at the time, and I'd I'd ended up with a hernia in my groin, and I was booked in for surgery to have that sorted out. So me and my team knew that I needed a fight before this surgery, because I was going to have to be out sometime, to recover and heal from that. So Carl Greaves put me on one of his shows over at Cleethorpes. Kev Hooper were top at bill against legendary journeyman Johnny Greaves. So I really tried, to sell the tickets, but I think maybe it being a Sunday afternoon over in Cleethorpes, it were a bit of a struggle, and I just scraped enough tickets to pay my opponent to come and fight me. And I believe after my opponent took his wage, I think there were £80 left, which I was happy to not take a penny. My team and my manager at the time, they knew I needed this fight, so they didn't really want, they weren't going to get a lot anyway. But they said, look, we just want you to get the fight and be busy. And I think Carl at the time felt sorry for me, so he let me have that £80. It didn't go very far. I think once I took fuel out of there, getting there and paid for fish and chips after, it probably cost me. So the second time it happened was when I actually won the Central Area title at Super Featherweight. I'd just come off losing for the British title for the first time against Martin J. Ward, and I was obviously looking to rebuild, and I'd got a fight against Ryan, what was his name now? I think Ryan Moorhead from Liverpool. So I was up against him for the Central Area, and again, he was coming to box on me on my show, so it was down to me to sell the tickets, to pay for his wage, the promoter, and hopefully, be a wage left for me. But again, I'd struggled on tickets. I'd just scraped enough to pay for my opponent to come over and fight me. But again, I knew I needed to get a win to progress my career on. So I said, I'll take the fight. If I don't sell enough tickets and I don't get paid, fine. As long as the promoter will have me on the show to do that, then that'll work out. So I ended up boxing and winning the Central Area Super Featherweight title and not getting a penny. But again, I knew my career needed to progress, so it was just something that I was willing to do. And as well, I was still working on tools at times, so it wasn't like I wasn't getting any money. I was still at work every day and on building sites and earning a wage that way. And the third time, hopefully the last time ever, the third time was just before COVID. Again, I was coming off a loss, this time to Liam Walsh for the WBO European title, and MTK had actually got me matched up with Viktor Kotochigov for the WBC International. I was meant to be going over to Kazakhstan to fight Viktor for that belt. This was just before COVID hit, but the WBC required me to get a win. It enabled me to go into that WBC International fight. So again, I had a 4-rounder against Chris Pilkington, and again, I'd scraped enough tickets to pay Chris a wage to come and fight me. I got the win there. So I'd got the green light to go and fight Victor for the WBC International. You know, unfortunately, COVID then hit. So that fight was cancelled anyway, you know, as the whole the whole world was cancelled then. Fortunately for me, during COVID, you know, my career went on a massive trajectory. I think you know what I mean. We'll have to stop trying to say these big words, but my career went on a massive up during COVID, which led to me getting signed by MTK, and then a couple of fights later, getting signed by Matchroom, you know, and then ticket sales became irrelevant to me getting paid. But funnily enough, as the fights got bigger and getting signed and fighting on these big shows, ticket sales just went through the roof. You know, I was selling hundreds and hundreds of tickets, you know, which is great on the Matchroom shows and the big shows, because you get 10% commission on whatever tickets, you know, the total value of the tickets you sell. So, you know, that was another bonus. Hopefully this gives you some insight onto how boxing works on the Small Hall show. So the next time a boxer you know, or if you're friends with a boxer and they're pestering you to buy tickets, and you've said you're going to buy these tickets, can you come and cough up with money? You know, that's why, because it counts on not just the boxer getting paid, but, you know, they might be in a similar position to me where they need to fight to get a win or to progress their career on. You know, they might not be getting paid. They've got to pay the promoter, the manager, and the opponent. So that's why you see, you know, if you didn't understand that, when there's guys boxing on the Small Hall shows who's really working hard to sell tickets, that's why, because it enables them to box. If you enjoyed this video, like it. And if there's any more of this kind of content you'd like to hear from me about my knowledge in boxing, you know, drop it in comments. And of course, don't forget to subscribe.